Next on the Worcester News tonight, a delicious meal for a good cause. Plus, a four-legged member of the Worcester County Sheriff's Department makes his way onto national television. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tim McCone. Democratic presidential hopefuls are on the stage for their first debate as we speak. And while this is the first time frontrunners Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton will face off, locals say they're excited to hear from the other three candidates as well. Olivia Lemon spoke with locals about topics they're focused on tonight, and she has more.
I think competition is good for this country, whether it's at the individual level or the company level.
Paul Mack says he's looking forward to Tuesday's Democratic debate. The WPI administrator says it's important to see issues like income equality and immigration discussed in a debate manner. I
think a lot of folks that are kind of heavily weighted to the Democratic Party were kind of looking for kind of a debate.
Political analyst Guy Glodis says while many have voiced their support for Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, the credibility of the other three presidential hopefuls will be raised.
Weber and Lincoln Chafee, are they credible candidates? That will be brought up. Whenever you have a debate with 4 or 5 individuals, the most important thing is to stand out. What candidate stands out? What candidate becomes the most presidential?
Glodis says an interesting thing to pay attention to will be whether or not the candidates support the policies of President Obama.
I think it would be a telltale sign of the direction in which the Democrats going. Do they embrace Barack Obama's more progressive agenda, or do they run away from it?
I think people are hungry for candidates to tell them what they're for. We know what candidates are against. I think people want to know what they're for.
Congressman Jim McGovern says there are many important issues like early childhood education and the opioid epidemic, which he hopes are discussed.
We have some serious challenges before our country, and electing a president is serious business.
We were all looking for good leaders, whether they're coming from the Republican side or the Democratic side. We're looking for people that can lead us and provide a nice vision for the future.
Olivia Lemon, Worcester News Tonight.
Some local politicians joined members of the fire department and Red Cross this evening in hopes of spreading the word about fire safety. The city of Worcester has had 2 fatal residential fires in the last year after a string of nearly 4 years without a death. At today's event, speakers stressed fire safety and also plan to donate smoke alarms. Nikita Fire Safety donated 150 smoke alarms and 50 CO alarms to the city. Worcester Fire Chief Jeffrey Gardell says smoke alarms are essential in preventing tragedies.
I showed the neighborhood that we're out there for them, and we want to help them out and make sure they do have smoke detection, smoke alarms in their residence. Right now, in 2014, I think we lost like 36 persons in residential fires in the state of Massachusetts. We're already up to 56 so far this year. So very important to have working smoke detection and notification in your apartments.
Representatives also stressed that the public should check their smoke alarms monthly. Leicester High School was evacuated for about 45 minutes this morning for a low-level threat. Police responded to the school around 9:15 after the principal reported receiving a threat. Students and staff were removed as part of newly implemented emergency protocols. Officers swept the area and found no danger to students. Right now, police are still investigating the incident. A teenager is in the hospital with a serious concussion after being hit by a car in Worcester last night. The accident happened around 6 at Hamilton and Plantation Street. Police say a 17-year-old female was using the crosswalk when she was struck by an SUV. The driver of the vehicle, an unidentified man from Hudson, told police he was blinded by the sun. He has not yet been cited, but the accident remains under investigation. A sad update on the puppy Kona, who was the victim of a stabbing last week. Kona's adopter told us that she died last night due to an infection. The puppy was one of the 2 dogs stabbed in a home invasion last week in Worcester. 2 people were also stabbed in the invasion as well. The investigation is still ongoing. He's the best Worcester has when it comes to sniffing out drugs, and he does it all on 4 legs. Nikita was adopted by the Worcester County Sheriff's Department a few years ago, and our Andy Madison tells us why Nikita and the Sheriff's Department will receive national attention.
He's become a deputy's best friend.
He's my partner, he's with me 24/7. He comes home, he's a pet at home with my family.
At home, Nikita is just as adorable and playful as any other dog.
Put his collar on, I'll give him a little bit of food.
At work, it's a little different.
He's there to make you relaxed and be friendly because he's there to sniff narcotics, especially prescription drugs.
A job that the sheriff says he does quite well.
It looks like it was wet and then dried.
Going through the mail that comes to the prison.
He sniffs the mail every day. His first day on the job, he found somebody trying to smuggle Suboxone in on the glue of a letter, and he hit on it right away.
3 years ago, the department adopted Nikita from the Sterling Animal Shelter. The dog is now part of the canine unit, and the move has gotten the attention of the producers of Shelter Me, a PBS series about shelter dogs. The crew came and filmed Nikita and Lieutenant Shabbat on the job. As we found out, Nikita doesn't shy away from the spotlight. During filming, his partner says it wasn't an issue.
He was kind of indifferent to the whole thing. He just, it was like they weren't even there.
This is a wonderful opportunity to demonstrate that shelter dogs can do amazing things, including law enforcement work, and do it just as well as a traditional canine.
An advanced screening of the episode will be shown at the Hanover Theater next Tuesday. It's an event open to the public, and they'll be taking donations for local animal shelters. Andy Madison, Worcester News Tonight.
Jury selection for the murder trial of Philip Chisholm has been halted. Before his trial started, Chisholm was found competent, but in court today, the defense raised questions about his mental well-being. Chisholm is accused of murdering and raping his math teacher, Colleen Ritzfer, at Danvers High in 2013. He was 14 at the time, but is being treated as an adult. A psychiatrist was brought in to examine Chisholm today. She tried to speak with him twice, and both times he refused to acknowledge her.
Competency is a fluid concept. A person can be competent one day and incompetent the next. The determination that the court has to make is whether or not the person is truly incompetent because of some type of mental disease or illness, or whether or not they're feigning competency or lack of competency in order to avoid the trial that is ongoing.
The psychiatrist will examine Chisholm tomorrow. If he continues to be uncooperative, he will be taken to a psych facility for extended evaluation. And Aaron Hernandez's upcoming murder trial has been delayed. The former Patriots tight end is accused of killing 2 men in Boston in 2012. Today, the judge agreed to move the trial back 7 weeks to January 19th. The delay comes as prosecutors seek evidence held by a law firm that previously represented Hernandez. No word yet on what the evidence is, but the judge did say it relates to a defendant's right to seek confidential legal advice from a lawyer. Changing gears a bit, Congressman McGovern was in town today to talk about entrepreneurship in the city. Patricia Nicholas was there and has more.
Behind these doors on Franklin Street nestles an office space that local entrepreneurs say is one of the only of its kind in Worcester.
This is really the only space that's modern, it's unique, it's centrally located, it has all the resources, and it's also in downtown. Like other co-sharing space or more like startup or entrepreneurial spaces don't really have that feel.
The building was redeveloped by Worcester Business Development Corporation in 2011 to support Worcester's entrepreneurial ecosystem. It provides a collaborative space on the first floor and office spaces for startups on the fourth.
Our ultimate goal would be to populate the rest of the downtown with these entrepreneurs as they grow, graduate into more traditional, conventional space, but really fill the buildings with people that can become employers or are very good employees.
Tuesday, it served as a space for lunch and discussion for local entrepreneurs with Congressman James McGovern. They spoke of their businesses and hopes for the future of entrepreneurship in Worcester.
People have the misconception that you can go to Boston or you have to go to New York after they graduate, or they're looking to get, to find a new opportunity with an employer. But Worcester has all the same components, and it's very local, and it's a good place to grow a business because the competition is not there, but there's definitely a need for businesses to enroot themselves here and really flourish to complement, the Boston area.
Patricia Nicholas, Worcester News Tonight.
And that was our Patricia Nicholas reporting. A tasty announcement from the DCU Center this afternoon. Figs and Pigs Kitchen and Pantry will occupy the new restaurant space at the arena. The 1,200-foot space is located on the corner of Foster and Commercial Street and is the last piece to the 2013 capital renovations. Worcester resident Candace Murphy will be the operator and manager of the new restaurant. Figs and Pigs is expected to open up in November. Recently, the Worcester-themed store Worcester Wares opened its doors at the DCU Center as well. Well, a pretty delicious dinner tonight at First Baptist Church in the city. The 10th annual Beggars Bowl packed the venue. The fundraiser raises money for Worcester Interfaith. Guests made a donation and then got to enjoy some homemade soup served in a hand-thrown stoneware bowl, which they got to keep.
Always great for this event. People love the sense of community, and it's really a community effort. People donate the soup, and you know, we got youth that come out and volunteer to be servers, and it's just a great event all around.